We got I Tried Trademark Infringement Restaurants by Sam Reed. Let's get into it.
Illinois called Burger King that has zero affiliation with the. Did you know that there's a restaurant in the middle of Illinois called Burger King that has zero affiliation with the national chain? That's because it won the right to keep using the name in a trademark lawsuit in 1967. And in this episode of the studio
Yo, since 1967? Why has nobody heard about it? Are they not allowed to do marketing?
review, I'll be visiting 3 local restaurants around the country with questionable or disputed trademarks and seeing how they compare to the massive chains that share their names. First up, I'm headed to Branson, Missouri to visit an Australian-themed steak restaurant that's called, you guessed it, Outback. The Outback in Branson makes it clear in multiple places on their website that they are not affiliated with the national chain. Technically, this restaurant is
Outback Steak and Oyster Bar is not affiliated with the Outback Steakhouse chain. See, that one's actually pretty fair. Fuck. That one's actually pretty fair because it's just a longer name, like a longer version of the same name, and it has similar letters in it and words in it, but it's not the same. So that one I totally get.
It's called Outback Steak and Oyster Bar, but there's still considerable confusion over the similarities, which I'll get into in just a second. This was my first time visiting Branson, and I feel like it had to have been at least 50% mini golf courses by landmass. The building itself is located in a grassy.
Hey, oh, that's kind of a sick build, though. Okay, I don't mind the sign either. That's kind of cool.
Area kind of down the hill from the main strip, so you're a little bit removed from all the mini golf courses and family-friendly.
Hey, that looks like a quiet town, dude. That actually seems nice to live there. Really small, though.
Jamborees. The sign has a crocodile up on top welcoming people in off the street, and one of the messages on the rotating LED screen says, "Come down under."
Okay. That's actually some pretty good, like, physical marketing. That looks really good. It doesn't look outdated or anything at all. I mean, that's fantastic.
For my Australian viewers, come down under. They have this car out front, and I did check the location of the steering column, which is on the left side, so sadly not an authentic Australian vehicle. There are
Okay, good thinking to check that out.
American flags at the entrance, which cracks me up, and you walk down this covered walkway where you're greeted by another crocodile, and before you even get inside, there's a sign explaining that this is the original.
We're not affiliated with the Outback restaurant chain. Please understand we can not accept any gift cards for the Outback chain. Dude, that's the problem that they're having. People are bringing out gift cards from Outback. That's actually wild.
Outback, and that they can't accept gift cards.
They must be doing pretty well then, no? I would assume, off of that.
From the Outback chain. There's a map of Australia near the entrance, and another sign explaining that this is not an Outback steakhouse. The kitchen is kind of open concept, so the grill is right in the middle of the restaurant, and there's a big old crocodile just to the side. There was wood paneling everywhere, and kind of eclectic decor, like a whole plane hanging from the ceiling.
Hey, I actually like it. It's kept pretty nice.
Koalas everywhere, a kangaroo crossing sign, as well as signs for Fostas. I got seated in this section with a giant Australian flag on one wall and a giant American flag on the other wall. My waiter had long hair and a beard, and I half expected him to come up and start speaking in an Australian accent, but he didn't. He was American. I ordered
Okay.
Diet Pepsi and then went to check out the bathrooms. These bathrooms have the words Blokes and Sheila's on the signs, just like the chain, but the men's bathroom had kegs for urinals, which I thought was a nice touch.
That is a really nice touch. I didn't actually know that they did that at Outback also. So that's news to me. That's cool.
When I got back to my booth, I started checking out the menu. And there were disclaimers everywhere that this is the original Outback and that they're not affiliated with the chain.
If you have a coupon or gift card from the other Outback, we can't take it here. We are not associated with them, but we are sure glad you're here and not there. Okay. The original. We are locally owned and operated. Bogan.
But looking at the menu items themselves, I would say that what they offer...
Oh, well, it's steak, though. I mean, that's kind of normal. That's actually not super expensive for, like, a sit-down restaurant. Okay, not a stupid amount of items, too, which is good. That's usually not a good sign when there's too
isn't
many.
all that different. In 2024, I flew all the way to Australia so I could eat at an Australian Outback Steakhouse location. And during that process, it became abundantly clear that there's nothing distinctly Australian about the food at Outback. The founders of the chain have even openly described their restaurant as offering American food and Australian fun.
Okay. Yeah, I personally didn't think they took it too far with the Australian side of it. That's why I didn't think they had the names on the bathroom different. I don't think so, at least the location here in Vegas. That's really interesting.
To the credit of the Branson restaurant, I do think oysters are eaten in Australia fairly regularly, and obviously oysters are right there in the name, so that's one way that they stand out from the chain. But despite all their insistence that this is a unique dining experience, they have something on their menu called the Aussie onion, which is an onion cut to look like a blooming flower.
Uh-oh. That's a little bit sus.
Which is then battered and deep fried. If you're anything like me, you might be wondering, how does something like this happen? Like, wouldn't Outback Steakhouse want to shut this place down or get them to change their name? And which of these restaurants came first? Well, according to the Better Business Bureau, the Branson Outback was established on October 29th, 1987, while the national chain's first location in Tampa, Florida had their grand opening on March 15th, 1988. That's about 4.5 months later, which is remarkably close. The Florida restaurant filed their trademark application less than a month after opening, and it was approved in early 1989. Now, there's unfortunately very little documentation around the relationship between these two restaurants, so this next section involves a little bit of speculation. According to a blog post, the local legend is that the Outback chain did in fact sue the Branson restaurant for trademark infringement and lost.
Yeah, I was going to say, it seemed like the names are actually different, so you can't say it's the same thing. It's actually a pretty fair case where they would be fine. Like, it's not the same at all. Like the Burger King one, yeah. I can't wait for that one. But no, that's definitely not okay. Obviously. It's just this one I get. I totally get it. And it's just a crazy world coincidence that they both applied for it pretty much around the same time and they just happened to have it earlier. Like, that's so crazy. I don't think anybody knew that, and you just wouldn't think about it. So oh man, this guy makes some really good videos, dude. I'm gonna definitely like his video because he puts good time into it and obviously a lot of effort. So shout out to Sam Reed, man. It makes amazing content.
Story is corroborated by two different Wikipedia editors in the talk section of the Outback Steakhouse page, but I will say that no one lists any sources. The closest we get is one of the editors citing being married to the cousin of one of the founders, so like third-hand information at that point. If that did actually happen, I haven't been able to find any publicly available court documents, which probably means one of two things. Either one, this took place before the state of Missouri has court documents available online, which is possible, or two, it was settled out of court before a lawsuit was ever officially filed. I asked the hostess if there had been any legal battles over the trademark. She pointed me to a hat in the merch store that had 88 on it, as in 1988, and she said that that was the year that they settled and that there was some sort of payment over the use of the name.
Oh, they got paid out. Is that why they're doing so well? They got some lump money under there.
1988 would have been the year before the trademark application for Outback Steakhouse was even officially approved by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, so who knows what really went down. That blog.
Whoa, looks like you're backing up a bit here. Okay, Luann?
Gotta watch the ad for him,
Is
man.
there a Luann in the house?
Remember, you don't work here. Young homeowner.
He gets money for that, man.
As a result of the lawsuit, Bloomin' Brands can't build an Outback within 50 miles of the Branson restaurant, so the closest one is located in Springfield, Missouri.
I was gonna say, like, that's probably why it's so out there and people haven't really heard of it, because they got like a hush agreement to, kind of deal on their own turfs, basically, like a legal, territory situation.
Which is 51 miles away. So that I could fact check, and the closest one is in Springfield, but it's like 40 miles away by car and 35 miles away as the crow flies. So the evidence here is shaky at best. But you can't deny the fact that the Branson location is somehow able to continue operating despite Outback holding the trademark. And even though the name is slightly different, like Outback Steakhouse versus Outback Steak and Oyster Bar, they're both
completely different. It's completely different.
With Australia themed, and one of the biggest deciding factors in trademark cases is whether the defendant's branding is likely to cause confusion. I asked my waiter about all the disclaimers saying that they're not affiliated, and he said they get people coming in every day thinking it's part of the chain. Like somehow they miss all the signs and still try to pay with Outback gift cards.
That's crazy. People are just so ridiculous. Dude, people can't read. Like, genuinely, people can't freaking read. Like, majority of people, I think, are freaking like illiterate at this point. It's super wild, like, or at least at a lower grade reading level, so they can't even like perceive half the things on the paragraph, or just don't even pay attention anymore. Everyone's got so much brain rot.
Which is wild. It definitely seems like there is some confusion afoot. Exceptions to trademark infringement are made if the competing mark has been used continuously in good faith from a date prior to the date that the official trademark was registered. And even then, that defense only applies for the geographic area in which such continuous use is proven. There's also a provision that if it's somebody's name, they can't be bullied out of using their own name for their business. But I checked, and this restaurant was not founded by someone named John Outback. So all that leads me to believe that there was some sort of pre-lawsuit settlement, or at least some sort of coexistence agreement, even if it was confidential. And while I'm speculating, I've talked extensively in other episodes about the origin of the bloomin' onion and how it wasn't actually invented by Outback. I don't want to make any accusations, but if one of the founders...
He got some bloomin' onion history. I wouldn't have even thought.
...was willing to adopt the recipe and claim that he invented it, who's to say that he wouldn't be willing to also adopt the theming and name that he found at another restaurant? The origin story for the chain is that none of the founders had even been to Australia before starting the restaurant. But the origin story for the Branson restaurant is that the founders were inspired by their travels to Australia. Is it possible the founders of the chain had a concept for a restaurant?
Oh, that totally makes sense, dude. Some like fanboys of Australia that, just kind of wanted to bring it back here and give them a taste of it, like all the Americanized type of foods that we have now. I mean, that actually makes sense. That's kind of what I guess I thought, I didn't think they were like really trying to pull the full Aussie thing. So, I mean, maybe I misinterpreted it or something. Or I really genuinely don't go to Outback very often, but I have been there like a handful of times.
Restaurant and then decided on its theme after visiting Branson? Maybe. Some accounts of company history do say that the founders of the chain had been researching the market and had decided on a casual steak concept first, and it was only later that they decided on a theme and a name. But I will say that the 4.5-month turnaround time between when these two restaurants opened makes the window of opportunity for that to happen pretty narrow. All right, let's get back to the food at the Branson restaurant and see how it...
Yeah, that was a long kind of detour onto the legal matters of it. Like, I feel like I said, this one was kind of straightforward.
Compares to the food at the chain. I ordered a 12-ounce ribeye cooked medium, which felt really expensive at $34.99. That's $2.92 per ounce as compared to $2.26 per ounce for...
Oh, dang. Bro, I didn't know that, man. That's actually kind of wild.
For a ribeye at Outback Steakhouse. In Branson, a steak comes with a salad and a side, so I got a Caesar salad and garlic mashed potatoes. And then I also ordered the Aussie onion because when in Rome. This is pretty much my go-to order whenever I'm at Outback Steakhouse, and it's almost exactly what I ordered at the Outback in Australia. The Aussie onion was served with not one, but two sauces.
Okay, it kind of looks like a little bit more like dainty, like thin, like sad. But I don't know, maybe maybe it's just like the scale of it or something. Maybe. What do you guys think?
Sauces. The first was some sort of specialty sauce, and the second was ranch, which is the unofficial beverage of the Midwest. The breading on the onion wasn't that flavorful, but still tasted good. It kind of reminded me of the batter that some restaurants use for fish. And this might sound crazy, but the sauce in the middle almost reminded me of relish, like maybe a tartar sauce, which I've
Whoa, and it's like orange red looking, like relish, dude.
Never seen paired with a bloomin' onion before. The Branson menu doesn't specify what the sauce is. All in all, not the best onion blossom I've ever had, but still enjoyable. The Caesar salad was a little on the smaller side.
Oh, that's kind of underwhelming too. Bro, I hate the raw purple onions. They're so, at least like chopped up. Like the full thing is crazy. Like, what am I supposed to bite it? Like just bite a whole piece of it out? That's nasty work.
And was dominated by these red onions, but it got the job done. The steak came out super fast, probably because they were cooking it over there on that Australian teppanyaki grill, and it was bigger than I was expecting for a 12-ounce.
Woo! That looked cooked.
Steak. It was cooked appropriately with a good pink color and ended up being really tasty. Like the Aussie onion, this wasn't the best ribeye I've ever had, but still pretty solid. And then finally...
Bro, $36 though for that? I don't know, man. That seems a little steep.
The mashed potatoes were good, but didn't taste very garlicky for an item that's advertised as a garlic mashed potato. My total bill was $48.27 before tax and tip. So the question is...
Yeah, $30 steak plus the bloomin' onion was like $10, plus, all the other stuff they tack on and tip. Yeah, it's like $50 out the door.
How does this Outback compare to the national chain? I would say that the general vibe is a lot more blue collar than what you'd find at the chain, which is a little bit more polished. And I've only spent like 5 days in Australia, but it feels like the blue collar vibe is more authentic to how Australians view themselves. The Branson location has never expanded, possibly because of a coexistence agreement that we don't know about. Outback's
Yeah, it almost seemed like that one's kind of going more for what like he said, where they're like trying to have their own thing that's like Aussie influenced and it has all those touches and stuff to it and everything. Like I just think that's not what the Outback chain here is doing. Like maybe initially, but when it got to big corporate level, I don't know if that ever got bought or sold, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe something like that.
Steakhouse, on the other hand, now has locations in 20 countries, including 670 in the US and a handful in Australia. I'd probably give the edge to the chain when it comes to value. Like, it's not necessarily cheap at either place, but you can generally get out the door of the chain for less than what I paid in Branson, especially if they have specials running.
Oh, dude, I just keep looking at this number over here. That's like the views per hour or whatever. So basically how my short is doing. And bro,
Prefer the chain's bloomin' onion and the sauce that comes with it. But for overall vibes, the Outback in Branson is a far better experience. After leaving Branson, I made my way back to Oklahoma, which is where I visited the all-you-can-eat Chick-fil-A. When I'm not traveling to film videos,
bro, all you can eat Chick-fil-A? What? What? Is that that's real?
Consistency is really important to me when it comes to wellness and routines, which is why I'm thankful to partner with Factor, who's the sponsor.
Bro. Bro, what? In University of Oklahoma in the Couch Restaurants dining hall. What? Can normal people and guests with unlimited sandwich? Yeah, and guests. So it serves student, staff, and guests. Could that be me? Unlimited sandwiches, nuggets, and fries? Dude. Limited menu concept with a larger food hall focusing on core items with a strict eat-in policy. That's fine, bro. Chicken sandwiches, nuggets, waffle fries, and sauces. No way. Must be eaten on site, no takeout allowed, primarily for OU students, employees, and their guests. Though non-students can pay an entry fee. Bro. Oh my god, less than $20? It's cheaper than a frickin' going through the drive-thru for 2 people? Dude, oh wait, where would that be? Where would that be? I'm gonna find out. Oklahoma, dude. Oh my gosh. Okay. Put a pin in that. I didn't know that.
Of this episode.
We'll watch the ad too. Give him the money for the ad, give our support. Most I can do, because I'm not paying him any money. And he's just making content for free. What a nice guy. Are we not subscribed to him? They take the oh no, I am. That's why that got it. Whoops.
Kannapolis, North Carolina, where I'm going to visit a restaurant called Whataburger. Now, if you're not from Texas or the southern half of the U.S.,
It's okay.
you might not be familiar, but Whataburger is a huge deal. A lot of people will fight tooth and nail in the debate between Whataburger and In-N-Out. Now, there is a very slight difference in the names. The Texas chain is called Whataburger, all one word, and the North Carolina restaurant is called Whataburger with
didn't know that. I thought you were talking about the regular one.
Hyphens. The North Carolina location is also technically called Whataburger number 1.
Yo, that's actually kind of crazy. I guess the hyphens get you out of it, right?
Because this is a small regional chain and they just numbered their locations based on when they opened. The only ones that are still open are number 1, number 2, number 10, number 11, number 13, and number 15. And to make
Okay. Hey, 5 out of 15 is really not bad for a business, I feel like. And yeah, that's crazy.
Things even more complicated, there are 2 number 13s plus a number 13 food truck. And that's
Oh, dude, I bet that's what kind of settled the agreement to where they are able to, because they are numbered instead of, completely different from the chain.
Because at one point the original owners gave number 13 to a family member, and then years later that family member decided to expand and called their subsequent locations number 13 as well. Okay.
Hey, they were pumping it out at 13. At location number 13, why didn't you put them on, bro? Clearly they knew what they were doing.
So in terms of trademark lawsuits, this one actually has some of the most complicated history out of any of the restaurants in this episode. So
Oh my god,
buckle
dude,
up.
the last one was super complicated. How much worse could it be?
When I was first doing my initial research, I read about a lawsuit between the Texas Whataburger chain and Whataburger number 13 in North Carolina. And from what I could tell, it looked like an ongoing lawsuit. So I was like, that's pretty interesting. So I decided to go to the North Carolina Whataburger, and I chose the number 1 location since it's the oldest. And I'll tell you all about that experience in just a second. But after I got back home, I was doing...
Dude, what a classic sign, too. That looks sick. Super vintage. That's so cool.
It's the oldest. I looked into the history of these restaurants, and I discovered another restaurant called Whataburger that's located in Virginia, of all places. And there was actually an older trademark lawsuit between Texas Whataburger and Virginia Whataburger.
No way. Why is it so popular?
Filed back in 2003. So I'm sitting there at my computer working on this video literally earlier this week, and I'm like, well, I could just talk about that lawsuit, but I wouldn't feel like I was doing this video justice if I was within driving distance of a key piece of this dispute and didn't go.
Oh.
So I'm like, dang it, I think I need to drive to Newport News and go to the original Virginia Whataburger.
Dang. Man, he put so much effort into it, dude.
I'll also tell you all about that one in just a second, but first let me explain what in the world is going on with all these unrelated restaurants with the same name. Unfortunately for me, this history isn't all in one place, but after combing through a bunch of different news articles and court filings, I was able to more or less piece it together. So unlike the situation with Outback, the Whataburger that's now a national chain actually opened first. That was in 1950 in Corpus Christi, Texas. The North Carolina one came second in...
Makes sense with all the lawsuits then. Go for everybody. Like, go for the blood, bro.
1956, totally independent, and then the Virginia one came third and opened its doors in either 1957 or 1958, depending on who you ask, also independent. The Texas restaurant filed a trademark application at the state level with the Texas Secretary of State when they first opened in 1950, but they didn't file with the National Patent and Trademark Office until 1954.
That's still before, right?
And the trademark wasn't officially approved until September of 1957.
Oh, that's what got them, probably. Oh, okay. That's what probably lets them have a loophole. But what about the other one?
Which is after the Virginia restaurant was already up and running. According to the 2003 lawsuit, Virginia Whataburger and Texas Whataburger did not know that the other one existed until 1970. The North Carolina Whataburger is...
Whoa, that's a lot. Well, that's totally fair, dude. Before the internet and everything, like, how would you even know about places in other states? How would you even know anything? Like, that connected everybody.
Included in that lawsuit, so we're just going to put them on the back burner for right now. So in 1970, someone from Texas Whataburger was traveling through Virginia, saw the sign, and came inside. Eventually, they suggested the possibility of the Virginia restaurant becoming a franchise of the Texas chain. Virginia wasn't interested, and Texas didn't follow up until 2002, 32 years later. And that's when a lawyer reached out to the Virginia chain to ask if they could provide any documentation for an agreement about the use of the name from back in 1970. Virginia
What? That's so...
Whataburger was like, uh-oh. So they initiated a suit seeking relief from Texas Whataburger enforcing their trademark on them. And then Texas proceeded to file a counterclaim in 2003 suing the Virginia restaurant for trademark infringement. Long story short, in 2004, the court decides that lawsuit in favor of Virginia Whataburger. Here's the key quote from that decision. The court finds that the Whataburger mark has been properly registered and that Whataburger is licensed to use it, meaning the Texas chain. The question remaining then is whether that right can be enforced against Whataburger, meaning the Virginia chain. The court finds that it cannot.
Okay.
The main reason that they give is that they knew about the use of the name as early as 1970 but didn't file the lawsuit until 2003. So that's over 30 years of implied acceptance of them using the mark. So Texas Whataburger was...
Somebody dropped the ball, dude, and they probably weren't even around anymore to know that it happened, but somebody messed that up for them, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Hoping that worst case scenario, the court would protect the right of the Virginia company to use the name in the specific cities where they were operating, like in the Branson situation. But the court was like, nope. Using a precedent set by this other trademark case with Subway in 1979, the standard unit for trademark use is the entire state. So if I'm understanding this correctly, as long as the Virginia Whataburger stays open and shows continuous use of the name, Texas Whataburger can't open a location in Virginia ever.
No.
That is nuts. But it is a huge victory for the little guy. Okay, so when it comes to the North Carolina location...
Hey, that's actually so clutch for them. Like, what a coincidence that happened for them. Like, it was just meant to be that they Virginia's theirs, man. That's crazy.
Locations. They're not named in the Virginia lawsuit, but I'm willing to bet that the result of that case made Texas Whataburger hesitant to go after more restaurants in that way. So the North Carolina locations benefited from that. I mentioned earlier that the ownership of the North Carolina chain is split, and we know the most about number 13 because that owner ended up getting sued by the Texas chain in 2024.
Yeah, because you were popping off, and they're like, what is going on over there? You find out they're doing the exact same thing as you with the same name, and then you're going for blood.
And a lot of these details were made public in the lawsuit. So in 2022, the Texas chain reaches out to number 13 because they have plans to expand to North Carolina for the first time. They enter into a confidential coexistence agreement in 2023, and Texas Whataburger publicly announces their plans for North Carolina in 2024. I'm assuming there's a similar coexistence agreement with the other North Carolina.
Yeah, that's the move, man. At this point, stop fighting. Like, join them. Like, split the money in some way that's agreeable for both of you, I guess. That would be the tough part, but that's the only thing you could do. Compare numbers, right? Whose is bigger?
Locations, but we just don't know about it because it hasn't been made public. But the Texas chain says that the owners of Whataburger number 13 violated the agreement by forming a new LLC days before signing it, and that LLC was not specifically named in the agreement. And then they continued using the Whataburger name with their food truck in ways that also violated the agreement.
That's a little dicey, dude. Yeah, once you start doing shady stuff like that, then it's like, what do? We got into this agreement now. Like, you're kind of screwed now, right?
Not 100% sure what that means, but it's possible that maybe they were parking the food truck outside of the agreed upon area or something like that. So the Texas chain goes after Whataburger number 13 with this giant trademark firm called Perky Barber. That's its real name. And they have a whole list of demands, but the main one is that they stop using the Whataburger name altogether. This is really interesting to me, but there are a whole bunch of articles about this lawsuit being filed, but that was like a year and a half ago. It's basically impossible to find any updates in news articles on how the court case turned out. Like, it's just crickets. But by sifting through court documents online, I was able to find these updates. And as far as I know, this hasn't been reported anywhere else. August 6th of this year, case reported settled. September 4th of this year, stipulation of dismissal with prejudice, which means that the case can't be refiled again in the future against these same defendants. I'm not able to access the documents that outline the terms of the settlement, but check this out. September 18th, 2025, Whataburger number 13 changes their profile picture on Facebook, and I'm guessing their name as well, to WAB number 13.
Hey, what a loophole, though.
On October 9th of this year, they update their cover photo to show the building with a new sign that also reads WAB number 13. And then I was able to confirm through recent Google Street View images and other pictures on Facebook that their second location and their food truck have rebranded as well. So the TLDR here is that the Texas chain successfully bullied this subset of Whataburger locations in North Carolina into changing their name. And it looks like the other Whataburgers, like number 1, number 2, etc., have not violated that agreement, so they're still okay to just coexist. Like, they're just chilling. So as of today, Texas Whataburger lists 1,180 locations across 17 states on their website. 773 of those are in Texas, and there are 11 listed for North Carolina. That's new as of this year. The nearest one to the original location, Whataburger number 1, is about 30 minutes away, and it looks like they are respecting the county boundary here. The part that I don't understand is that there's both a Texas Whataburger and a North Carolina Whataburger in the town of Mooresville, and those are less than 4 miles apart. So I don't know what's going on there. Again, we don't necessarily know the terms of the coexistence agreement with the non-13 Whataburger locations, but it will be really interesting to see what happens as the Texas chain keeps expanding. Okay, all that being said, if you're still here and haven't clicked away from being bored out of your mind, I appreciate you. Let's actually check out these restaurants. I'm going to start out with the North Carolina location, since that's the one I went to first. And just right off the bat, I mean, this place rocks. It's a drive-in, but it has indoor seating as well. I got there around noon, and it seemed pretty crowded. There were a bunch of cars parked in the parking lot, and out of the 20 drive-in stalls, over half of those were occupied. You could tell this place was a little older.
Oh, it's cool. It's kind of like Sonic. You drive in and wait.
Like the roof had some wear and tear, and I'm pretty sure these were the original service phone speaker boxes from the 50s.
Wow.
But for me, that added to the charm. All right, so the centerpiece of the menu is the Whataburger, and it says all Whataburgers come with lettuce, tomato, onion, mustard, pickle. They also specify a 5-inch bun, which was a little bit confusing because that seems like what the diameter of a normal hamburger bun probably is. The menu also mentions Pepsi being born in the Carolinas, but I had to go for a cheer wine. This restaurant was actually like
a cheer wine? What's a cheer wine?
Pepsi being born in the Carolinas, but I had to go.
I've never even heard of cheer wine or patio. Interesting. I want to taste it.
for a cheerwine. This restaurant was actually like 20 minutes from where cheerwine was invented. There was also something called a witch doctor, which I didn't order, but I found out later it's a mixture of all the flavors from the soda fountain plus pickle juice. Maybe next time. I decided
That's disgusting. Who would like that? It's gross enough to do the whole mixing them all together. That kind of made me sad.
to get a what a cheeseburger, a small fry, a medium cheerwine, and a medium chocolate milkshake. All that was only $16.47, which seemed like a pretty good deal. As far as I could tell, there was just one runner going out to the cars and taking payments and delivering food, but it wasn't long before she came out with my food. And when they deliver the food, they put it on this tray here and then hand it to you through the window. She was super nice, by the way. She told me there was a bunch of stuff like napkins and salt in the bag, but she told me to let her know if there was anything else I needed. I started unloading food onto the built-in burger tray in my car, and when I got to the what a cheeseburger, I mean, this thing was enormous. It suddenly made sense why they specified the type of bun, because this was closer to the diameter of like a Whopper than the diameter of a burger from McDonald's or Wendy's. I was a fan of all the toppings, but if I'm being completely honest, the bread to meat ratio was a little off. So if you ever go, I'd recommend doing a double what a cheeseburger to even out that ratio a little bit. The fries were a little
yeah, that kind of looked like a weak burger, dude. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'd recommend doing a double what a cheeseburger to even out.
Yeah. Honestly, pretty sad, bro. And it kind of looks like the cheese was like sitting. Like it don't look like it's like hot. So
ratio a little. The fries were a little bland at first, but then I remembered about the salt packet she included, so I added some salt, which enhanced the experience. And based on the chocolate on the walls of the cup, this
you gotta salt your own fries, bro. I don't know, man. This place.
Milkshake looked freshly mixed. I tried to go with the straw, which
that actually looks
but
good.
In her defense, she had already thought of that and gave me both a straw and a spoon. Before I left, I ducked inside to check it out, and it was pretty busy in there too. They have a counter where you place your order and a seating area off to the side featuring these old-timey looking booths and a
pretty clean, actually.
Framed picture of Dale Earnhardt Sr. There's also an outdoor seating area, which I'm assuming was only empty because it was like 40 degrees that day. Was this the best food I've ever had in my life? Maybe not, but it was pretty cheap, it was local, and the experience was really fun, so I'm into it. As I was leaving, I passed a Sonic like a mile from the Whataburger, and if I lived around there, I would go to Whataburger over Sonic 10 times out.
Yeah, I mean, Sonic's gonna cost you 3 times what that place did. Like, come on. It's gonna be a different experience for sure.
Out of 10, unless I like really wanted a slush. So maybe I'd go to Whataburger like 9 times out of 10. All right, real quick. Original location is in Newport News, Virginia, and from what I understand, this is the original building, but it was relocated very slightly to accommodate a new highway that was being built. Unlike the North Carolina location, this one has neither car hop service nor a seating area.
Oh, what a downgrade! You gotta go in.
Just a walk-up counter. Interestingly, they do not call their signature burger a Whataburger.
Double burger, triple burger, cheeseburger, double cheese, triple cheese. $9 for triple cheese? That don't sound all that bad, bro. $5 for a regular burger, though. That's kind of lame. You gotta go big or go home. Go double. I mean, double cheese, think is the move here.
Just a burger. I would have assumed that's protected under the ruling of their trademark case, but maybe they're just playing it safe. I went ahead and got a triple cheeseburger because I was feeling crazy. I also got a side of tater balls.
Okay, triple cheese. That's what I'm talking about. Tater balls? Bro, that actually sounds good. I mean, it's just different shape. Chili cheese fries, chili fries. And pretty basic, though. Like, easy to read menu over here. This feels like 3rd grade, like, exercise here.
With chili and cheese. Just figured I'd mix it up a bit instead of the usual fries. This is also a Pepsi restaurant, so I got a Diet Dr. Pepper, which is distributed by Pepsi in most places in Virginia. I also
didn't know that. I mean, I say try the milkshake.
Ordered a slice of apple pie. The total price for all that was $20.60 before tax and tip. But in their defense, getting a triple cheeseburger obviously ups the price, and so does adding chili and cheese to the top.
Yeah, I mean, for all of that, that's really not bad at all, dude. You went, like, maxed out.
I should also note that they serve buffalo chicken baskets, veggie sandwiches, hot dogs, and barbecue sandwiches. There were a bunch of people waiting for their food, and one guy was so fed up that he got in his car and left without his food. But fortunately, mine only ended up taking about 16 minutes. I made my way out.
16 minutes isn't bad, man. I mean, for how busy it looked. Like, look how many people are in there. Of course you're going to wait like 10, 15 minutes. Of course.
Out to these covered picnic tables out back where I unpacked my haul. And even though this burger wasn't as wide as the one in North Carolina, it was
Oh, damn. Yeah, that's what... Damn.
Definitely taller. I'll be the first to admit that maybe I overcorrected a little bit on the amount of meat after that North Carolina Whataburger. But honestly,
Yeah, that's an overcorrection for sure.
really solid burger. Like, easily my favorite burger in this episode so far. The tater bites were fine. The inside was more of like a ball of stringy hash browns than like the consistency of a tater tot. Oops.
Okay.
5-second rule. The apple pie was like what you'd get at McDonald's.
More like hash balls than anything. And yeah, that looks exactly like McDonald's apple pie.
And not like a slice of pie. But it was warm on the inside and had a healthy dose of cinnamon, so still pretty enjoyable. All right, so the question is, how do the Virginia and North Carolina Whataburgers compare to the Texas Whataburger? I had the chance to go to Whataburger for the first time when I was in Texas.
Dude, I don't think they can match up. Like, I think that was pretty pathetic, both of them. Like, one of them looked really good, but he maxed out. He went triple everything. Like, if you went a single from there, it probably would have been just as sad. I think a better bread to meat ratio, though.
Texas for my quest for the best wings, and I got a combo meal with a burger and fries, and the total price was $12.33 including tax. So I feel like that's relatively comparable because I didn't get a milkshake when I was in Texas. It was pretty hot out and it felt like milk would be a bad choice. I can see why people like Texas Whataburger. Like if I had one near me, I'd probably go a lot. But as I mentioned previously, there may never be one in Virginia. But in terms
definitely the cheapest, and for what he paid, I feel like it looked the best. Like if we're gonna be trying to stay on a budget of any kind, unless you're trying to spend $20 on yourself every time.
In terms of vibe and experience, I've got to hand it to the North Carolina location. The tater balls were fun at the Virginia location, but man, getting to experience a vintage drive-in is just...
Oh, okay, he liked that one. That's okay. More of the experience, I assume, the food.
Unbeatable. Okay, I do want to head to the last restaurant, but real quick, one of my pet peeves is when YouTubers will just throw up a screenshot of the Google AI summary of something they looked up, because a lot of times that's wrong. So if you're interested in well-researched food and travel videos...
Agree with that, man. I've heard that and corrected my stuff, so I hear that.
Like this one that are kind of a combination of Johnny Harris and Guy Fieri and Mr. Rogers. You might enjoy subscribing so you can keep seeing new episodes as they come out in the future. All right, finally we're headed to Mattoon.
Yeah, dude, definitely just subscribe to Sam Reed. He's awesome.
Illinois to visit a little mom and pop shop called Burger King. The Burger King chain that we know today.
Oh, dude, I've been waiting for this one. This is the one I'm excited for. Let's go.
It started as a restaurant called Insta Burger King in 1953 in Jacksonville, Florida. You'll find a couple dates here, 53 being when the Insta Burger King guys opened their restaurant, and 54 was when a couple of franchisees opened their first location. And those
Insta Burger King? I don't really like that. That's pretty lame.
Franchisees would go on to purchase the entire company in 1959, and they dropped the Insta from the name. Drop the Insta, just Burger King. It's cleaner. The report from the Patent and Trademark Office shows that the application for a trademark was filed in 1958, but it wasn't officially registered until 1961. That gap between opening in 53 and registering in 61 ended up being key in this specific case, because over in Illinois, a couple purchased an ice cream stand called Frigid Queen in 1952, where they later added hot food to the menu. Eventually, as business grew, they remodeled, and in 1957 named the new business Burger King. This was 3 to
Frigid Queen to Burger King. In 57. When did they do theirs? Officially registered in 61. That feels like they knew about it.
4 years after Insta Burger King.
How'd they get away
in
with
Florida,
it?
But they registered the name Burger King with the state of Illinois in 1959, which was 2 years before the chain officially had...
Oh, they got it in before. Okay.
a nationally registered trademark. In the early 1960s, the corporation had begun expanding into Illinois. The Mattoon location was aware of the new Burger King restaurants entering the state and thought they were protected, and they even opened a second location in nearby Charleston, Illinois in 1962. By 1967, the national chain had 50 locations in Illinois alone. The owners of the Illinois Burger King had no choice but to sue if they wanted to survive. So they sued in state court, and the Burger King chain countersued in federal court. Ultimately, the district...
Ooh, uh-oh. Yeah, I mean, interesting.
Court ruled in favor of Burger King Corporation. And the local restaurant appealed the ruling, but it was upheld in an appellate court. Basically, they were denied trademark protection across the state of Illinois because the federal trademark took precedent over the state trademark. So even though the smaller restaurant lost the suit, the court did establish their right to use the trademark in the market of Mattoon, which they defined as an area with a 20-mile radius around the restaurant. The Burger King Corporation wouldn't be able to open a restaurant within that radius without the approval of the owners of the Mattoon Burger King. At one point, point,
Wow.
Burger King offered the local owners $10,000 to do that, but according to them, they told the Burger King chain to get lost. So
Yeah, $10,000 back then was a whole lot more money, but that probably would have been a good decision at the time. They couldn't have known though.
as of 2025, there's a Burger King about 24 miles to the north in Tuscola, Illinois, and another one about 28 miles to the
They be playing just outside, man.
south in Effingham, Illinois. It's unclear what happened to that second local Burger King location in Charleston, which would have been safe since it's within the 20-mile radius, but it's no longer operating today, and the only evidence that I could find of it existing is a single line in the court documents. So even
Opened a second similar restaurant in Charleston, Illinois.
though this was technically a loss for the smaller restaurant, it's still viewed as a David and Goliath story because they were able to keep their name and weren't totally driven out of business by the national chain. And we'll get to the
Wow.
restaurant itself in just a second, but I'd be
Yeah, they had it before. I mean, what do you? They should be able to keep it.
remiss if I didn't at least mention Burger King's expansion into Australia, where there was already a restaurant called Burger King in Adelaide. Burger King Corporation was denied the use of that name in Australia because the smaller restaurant had already registered the trademark, so all Australian locations of the Burger King chain operate through a franchisee that uses the name Hungry Jack's. And as I was
Really?
sitting there researching Hungry Jack's, I was like, wait, would I really be doing this video justice if I did
Yeah.
visit the original Australian Burger
Dude, he doesn't disappoint. Of course
King
he's
in
gonna do
person?
it.
Meet your new Dell PC with Intel
Dude,
inside.
he's so
With
good.
all-day
man.
battery life to power through your to-do.
I'm just kidding. I did go to a Hungry Jack's when I was in Australia, but I didn't make it down to Adelaide. Maybe one day. All right, let's head to Mattoon, which is about 3
Well, at
hours
least he
south
went
of
to one.
Chicago. It happened to be
That's sick,
super
dude.
snowy the morning I was driving there. Ooh, almost took a tumble there. But fortunately, the weather cleared up by the time I got to Mattoon. Very cool town, by the way. It's got this kind of historic downtown area, but
Yeah, that looks quiet, just like the other ones. That looks sick to live there if you like already established and everything.
and some chains as well. It has a population of about 16,500, but it felt bigger than I was expecting it to be. Burger King is situated on a corner with a fairly large parking lot, and the building itself is pretty nondescript. The sign out front says Burger King in huge letters, but on Google Maps they distinguish themselves from the chain by using the original Burger King. Outside in the
I love that. That's kind of sassy.
parking lot, there's this long bench, which I assume people use when it's crowded or maybe when they're waiting for ice cream in the summer. There's also a speaker out in the parking lot, so when they call out order numbers in the restaurant, you hear that outside as well. When you walk in, there's the counter where you place your order, and then a bunch of bench-style seating that reminds me of what you'd find at like a bowling alley or a skating rink. They
Yeah,
also had merch for sale, which once again includes the words "the original" to make it distinct from the chain. I ordered a double cheeseburger combo, and I went ahead and got
A hooter. A double hooter. Triple hooter. Pronto pup. Okay. It's not super expensive.
everything on the burger, including bacon. I also got large fries because when I asked what they were known for, the person working there said it was their fries, and then a large drink. This is a Coke restaurant, by the way, the first Coke restaurant of this episode, and the Burger King chain
Just Coke, bro? Eeh. Mellow Yellow.
also serves Coke. Go figure. I also got a chocolate shake. You can sub the drink out for the shake in your combo, but I wanted both. My total for all of that was $14.02 before tax. That would run you like at least $30 at Five Guys. I went and grabbed a seat and then looked around while I waited. There were a couple claw machines in the back, 2 single occupancy bathrooms, and these historic images on the wall. It is interesting that they're referring to it as Burger King in the 1952 and 1953 pictures, even though they didn't start using the name Burger King until 1957. Pretty sure prior to that point, it was still just Frigid Queen. My food came up after about 15 minutes, and it was all wrapped
Yeah, a little bit weird to do that, but
in these white paper bags. Honestly, kind of like what they had at the Whataburger locations. The burger was wrapped in this thick wax paper, and it all felt just very old school. I didn't realize this beforehand, but the burger patties were smashed, which is a plus in my book. But I would say that this was my second favorite burger in this episode, right behind the Virginia Whataburger. I read that they source their meat from a local meat market instead of like a big food distributor like Sysco or US Foods. The fries were battered, which means they have this rough outer layer instead of the smooth smooth kind that you'd find at McDonald's or the
Nice.
Burger King chain. And the milkshake was solid, like fairly average taste-wise, but it was the perfect consistency for drinking through a straw. All in all, this meal was awesome. I signed the guest book on my way out and then went to go check out the drive-thru because it did not look like a modern drive-thru does. So first of all, the menu is just on the side of the building here, no separate menu board or speaker or anything. And then you make a tight turn to the window where you place your order and pay. There's no second window, and in fact, the drive-thru doesn't wrap around the building, it just stops there. So according to this sign next to the window, if there's no one behind you, you can wait there for your food, but if there is someone behind you, you're supposed to pull a Yui and find a spot to park, and they'll call out your order over the loudspeaker once it's ready. All right, so how does Burger King in Mattoon compare to the national chain? I went and got a Whopper combo meal just to see, and yes, the chain has free crown.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be so much more expensive and probably pretty gross. Like, look how much bun, bro. Ugh.
Sure, it has a Coke Freestyle machine, but honestly, those machines never fully work right. Like, a lot of the flavors are out.
Yeah, it's usually out, dude. Most of the times, half the dang flavors are out, and they don't know to change them till they're empty.
A lot of the time, and then the ratio feels like a gamble. Also, I had the plastic nozzle from one of those drop into my drink at a Five Guys once, and I didn't realize it until I finished the drink. So
Dude, I used to work at a movie theater. We had to clean those, and it was disgusting, bro. Those get so gross and like black and clogged up with gunk. Oh, it's filthy.
He's a little skeptical. Anyways, I digress. The burger at the Mattoon Burger King was way better than a Whopper. The milkshakes were pretty comparable,
dude.
and I thought the fries at the chain were going to be better, but they weren't as good as I remember. So better food, lower prices, and a much cooler overall experience. I'll take the original Burger King any day. This whole experience has made me want to go out of my way to support historic local businesses. And if you're a small restaurant owner, man, these giant corporations can be super litigious. So maybe just play it safe and name your restaurant something made up. But if you want to read more about any of these restaurants or their court cases, I typically link a sources document.
Dude, super awesome video. I love Sam Reed, dude. Please go like and follow him, man. He's awesome. That's so sick. And then we have the next one is going to be Dollar Tree Diet, Killdozer.